Most keyboards take up too much space on your desk and aren't very portable or very good for being on the move. That is the problem that the Nuphy Air60 V2 solves, but how good is it, and can it be used to replace a normal mechanical keyboard? It comes in at $109.95 USD, which is basically $110, but if you upgrade the switches like the version I have here, it comes in at about $120 USD. It comes in either black, gray, or the version I have here, which is white. You have a lot of different options when it comes to switches. The ones I got here are called Wisteria, which I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure, I've never even heard of the word before. But they're tactile switches and they feel incredible. But like I was saying before, they do cost another $10. The Air60 V2 is a 60% keyboard, of course, which is why 60 is in the name. They also have the Air75, which, shocker, is a 75% keyboard. This keyboard does feature a low profile design, which is really nice, and the switches feel really good for a low profile keyboard. And for a low profile keyboard, it does have hot swappable switches as well. You don't have as many switch options when it comes to low profile switches for mechanical keyboards, but it does come with a few different switch options out of the box. So you can test them and you can get them from the website later, from Nuphy's website, or you can always upgrade them, or if a switch breaks, having a hot swappable keyboard is really good compared to having to solder the switches yourself if something goes wrong on the keyboard. The cable plugs into the side of the keyboard, which is unusual unless you're using it for a laptop, which we'll get into in just a little bit. It's also compatible with QMK and VS software, which is really nice as it's a really good software and it's a lot better than just the shitty softwares most keyboards come with. In the box, you get the quick start guide, a USB dongle for 2.4 gigahertz wireless, as this keyboard is wireless, which is pretty cool. You get some extra switches, a short USB-C to USB-C cable to use on your laptop when you're on the go, a keycap and switch puller, as this keyboard is hot swappable like I was saying before. You also get some extra keycaps, so you can use that keycap puller to pull off the keycaps and replace them if you like. And of course, they have to include some weeb stickers. The frame on top is made of aluminum, which makes the keyboard feel really sturdy and really nice build quality, to be honest. For a keyboard that is so thin, you probably need it, or else it would probably snap in half if you have it on the move at all. The bottom is made of ABS plastic and it's frosted, so you can see the RGBs kind of through it. It's not the greatest, and it also has this weight on the bottom. I mean, it attracts a lot of fingerprints, but you're never gonna see it unless you're on the move a lot, which this keyboard is meant for, so it's kind of crappy and it scratches pretty easily, but you're not gonna see it too often. The weight also, of course, adds weight. I hope so, it does at least. You have 4 rubber feet on the bottom, as well as 2 little flip up tabs here to raise the angle. Usually I don't raise the angle on most of the keyboards I use, but this keyboard lays pretty much flat if you don't use them, so I put it to the highest angle possible, and for that it feels pretty good. On the back side here, you also get a switch to turn it off or to go to wireless or wired mode. You also have a switch right next to it to switch between Windows and Mac mode. As for the keycaps, they are PBT and double shot, which is pretty high quality, and they're really thick for a thin, low profile keyboard. You think that they might be a little bit thin, but they are not. They're very good quality and they feel pretty good. One thing with the keycaps is they're not backlit, so the RGB doesn't shine through the keycaps, which I don't really mind. And this keyboard's meant for professionals. You can use it for gaming, which I have been, but it's meant for professionals and people who are on the move. So the RGB is most likely gonna be off most of the time unless you're using it at night. Inside the keyboard, you get some sound dampening materials to take away some of the ping of tapping the keys. I'll give you a little bit of a sound tester right here for it. As you can hear, the keyboard sounds pretty good and it's really nice to type on, even for a low profile keyboard. I find switching back to a normal mechanical keyboard, I actually prefer the low profile switches for gaming, as they feel like I'm using them a little bit faster, if you know what I mean. Like I don't have to push as far down because they're so small, the switches, like they're not really tall. So I feel like I don't have to push as hard, and they're really nice for gaming at least. Now for the RGB, like I was saying, you can use the VIA or QMK software, but if you don't want to use the software, it does have shortcuts on the keyboard itself. You can use FN plus the left arrow key to change the RGB effect, the FN and the right arrow key to change the color, and FN and up and down arrows to change the brightness of the RGB. Also, they have these small RGB strips on the side of the keyboard, which you can also change the effect to, or you can use the right side, the right strip here, to show the battery life you have left with the FN and / key. Now, if you're wondering about the wireless, it's really good actually, which is nice. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be using it on the go, which it's meant for, and just using it wireless is a lot nicer than having to plug in a cable, even though the cable it comes with is quite good. I haven't tested it myself, but Nuphy says that the wireless will last 30 to 90 hours with the RGB on, or up to 150 hours with the RGB turned off, which is quite nice. That is a long time to be using wireless without having to charge it. Also, if you're using it wired or with 2.4 gigahertz, you get 1000 hertz polling rate, which is pretty much the standard for most competitive gaming keyboards, which is why I feel like it's pretty good for gaming as well as just using it for your job or profession. Of course, this keyboard is made for using it on a laptop and being portable. So how does it perform while using it for that? Of course, it's great for that. It comes with everything you need to use it on a laptop. The short USB-C cable is really nice as you don't have the bulky long cable to use it. You can also even get a carrying case on Nuphy's website if you really use it on the go all the time. That would probably be a good investment. I think it would be worth it if you're using it on the go quite a bit. Of course, it's definitely better than using the regular keyboard on the laptop. That's a no doubter. Pretty much any keyboard's better than the laptop keyboard. And the wireless is really good, so if you wanted to use it for that, it's perfect, like I was saying before. Now, if you're just gonna be using it at your desktop and you don't plan on traveling very often, I think it's still honestly a good keyboard for that. I didn't expect it to be, but I really like this for gaming quite a bit actually. The switches are really nice, and I enjoy the small form factor 60% keyboard. Most 60% keyboards don't have the arrow keys, which is really nice, and I honestly didn't even notice that until I was using it for a while, how much I really enjoy the arrow keys. That's why I've been using 75% keyboards instead of 60% keyboards for a long time. Because they don't have arrow keys on 60% keyboards, you usually have to press function and like I, J, K, and L or something like that. It's really annoying if you have a game that you have to press the arrow keys quite a bit in. And honestly, it just looks really good. Just like looking at it, just look at it. Come on, it looks amazing. And if you're gonna be using it on your desk wireless, it's perfect because it doesn't have any wires. It's so small. I really recommend this keyboard honestly a lot. It sounds like they paid for me to do this and I'm being held at gunpoint right now. But Nuphy did not sponsor this at all. I didn't expect it to be this good of a keyboard, honestly. I've never used a low profile keyboard before, but I really enjoy it and I highly recommend it. And if you're looking for another keyboard, make sure to check out this video here. It's a really good keyboard as well.